Hello?
You're doing the intro, by the way. There we go.
I knew I was waiting until 10 seconds.
You just started the intro like you just you've went into an open door of a house you don't own.
Hello?
I've noticed there's a lot of milk outside, honey.
Right, hello and welcome to Discussing Documentaries. I'm Tink Sterling and this is Rick Wharton.
Welcome back, Tiggs. Pleasure to have you here. It's in my contract that I don't have to sound enthusiastic at the start, so whoever's doing it has to do the intro.
So what one we're doing this week then?
Oh, this was a Tink's choice. She said, I may not like one, but she's also seen this one, so I thought I would almost punish the decision to preempt what I would like and what I wouldn't like, and we would do the documentary Tell Me Who I Am.
Bleak.
Yep, we can wrap it up all there, guys. This may actually be a short one because there is not a whole lot to gleam that's going to cheer anyone up during this fucking documentary.
There's not, but there's a lot for us to catch up on, so...
Okay, we recorded the Billy Milligan part 4 last night for those out in podcast land listening, and which is a good episode, by the way. You should check it out. I would even go as far to say it is a lot better than episode 3 from what I remember.
Yeah, I would agree.
So yeah, catch us up. How has Christmas been, Tiggs?
Well, really nice actually. I told you I want to talk about Christmas. That's all I'm going to give you. No, do you want... I mean, you're supposed to just ask straight back, but I'll just tell you about it and then I'll ask you after. So, really good because I was really, really, really prepared.
Prepared? What were you cooking?
Well, with everything, so I started buying... I love buying people presents, like proper love buying people presents and making people presents and stuff. So I started in like August, September. So I had everything wrapped and sorted by like December 1st. So that was good. But then that was also procrastinating because I didn't want to do me skirting boards. But both got done. And then for the food as well, where did you go for your dinner?
Oh, we treated like an all-star game. We got vegan things from all the supermarkets.
So you had dinner, did you have dinner at home?
Yeah. Did we?
Like
yeah.
Christmas dinner?
Yep. Christmas dinner at our
And
place,
did you make a roast?
There was a vegan roast and a roast for me folks, if I remember correctly.
So you had 2 Christmas dinners?
No, we had one that catered to different dietary needs, which you wouldn't believe the level of a talking point that has been for, I don't know, 6 fucking months.
Are you totally vegan now?
Well, my mum I'm pretty much vegan. I'd love to say I watched Game Changers and, I felt I get the best out of my body, but it's really, there's no point cooking 2 different meals.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because we get the gustos, and we've discussed that, and you don't like being told how to cook is your issue with gusto. Mm-hmm. But over Christmas, since we had a lot of crap in to eat, we've rolled over on gustos, and now we have like 26 bags of ingredients to meals we have to catch up on now, so we're cooking brunch gustos currently.
Nice. Well, I made the roast this year. I don't eat meat.
Sorry,
What?
Correct me if I'm wrong. There's a line in Pulp Fiction, right, that my brother stole for his wedding vows.
What, any of you fucking pigs move?
Yeah. Say I do again. I dare you. No, no, it is Vinny Vega's being interviewed in a deleted scene by Uma Thurman and asks, "Are you a person who listens or waits to talk?" And that moment very much had the pace and tenure of a lady who was waiting to speak, not listening.
That's because he weren't giving us answers that I cared for.
I admire the honesty.
Well, I was excited about telling you, but I mean, I'll feign interest if you want us to.
No. We're all good on that one. You tell me about Grimble. I am interested, and I will listen.
So,
it reminds me of this morning.
What happened this morning?
I was fucking with you to interrupt to imply that I wasn't listening.
I know, I was doing a joke. We had one back together and got on all right, and now I'm being a bitch again. I said to Stuart, I was like, I think it's been really good for Rick that we've had a break, because I feel like I was much nicer to him this time. And then, now it's back to normal. I'm going to tell you about my Christmas dinner. We have a little tradition where everybody gets together on Christmas Eve and preps the veg, so that's nice. So me mum, so we had Christmas at ours. So me mum and me mama and me sister and the bairns came and helped. We all prepped all the veg and stuff, and then my mum cooks the meat and brings that on Christmas Day, and I cook the rest of it. And it was absolutely lovely. And then we did two. We did one for my family Christmas Day and one for Stuart's on the 2nd of January. Bloody lovely. And it was nice because it felt like new traditions beginning. And it's nice. I like hosting because I like to get the praise.
No one can say you've had too much. It's time for you to leave.
Yeah, they've all got to leave. That's a really good point. But also, I like getting the praise for the cooking. And also, I like to control the vibe. Having a nice little bit of music on, at the right level for you. Fuck the rest of them. No, I was just going to say, and forced fun. I am a big believer in organised fun. Getting a board game out, getting the old school game console I was telling you about, getting that out. Brings people together, man, whether they fucking like it or not.
I like that. The games console in particular, the board game was a stroke of genius for New Year. We had people round. I don't drink. We're playing Trivial Pursuit. All right, okay. I know. You've got an old bottle of whiskey, but when did Wham release their first album? You got 30 seconds. It's not your turn to talk anymore. On to you. What's that? You're getting tired now. Oh, never mind.
Did you wipe the floor with them?
No, I think KJ won that one.
Well, she doesn't drink either. Oh, maybe she was. It's got nothing to do with me, sorry. Christ, I don't know what's wrong. I have just had a coffee.
I don't know what triggers you just left from on wet rocks there. Going, I know her. Oh, I shouldn't speak for her. Maybe she did. Maybe she's stopping. I don't know.
Yeah,
no.
That's exactly what happened.
What was I going to say? So Christmas Day it's almost new to me. Because from the age of, I want to say 13 to 14, I would have been too hungover Christmas Day. And then at 8 o'clock, the White Hills pub would open for an hour. It was either 7 or 8. It's a much debated point in Chester Street when you go up for. Most people go up at 7 just in case and then have to wait an hour. And then drink through. And then since I stopped drinking, it's the first time I've actually been present for Christmas Day. I'd wake up, give each other their presents, be minging over Christmas dinner, not be able to eat it, and then have to go back to bed. Was kind of the routine until about 3 years ago. But one thing I did note on your routine is it does feel a very female patriarchy family, that there's a tradition you come round the night before and help prep the veg. That sounds like... Sounds like females were making up the what to do on that one, that level of organisation.
Yeah, that's true. But it is a nice one, and the kids, and it was lovely because the kids helped as well. They were only little. I mean, we had to wash everything a lot after our Emily because she's a disgusting little beast. But the big one did very well. That was nice. But then on the 2nd of January, I did it all myself. On the day of, did everything from scratch myself, so I was very proud. But I didn't do meat because I would have no idea how to cook meat, and I don't want to.
That's a good little addition to it. It's like, I don't know, she's kind of an A student, the girl, the lady I met, so I'm sure she could look up, put it in the oven for this amount of time.
It does feel a bit wrong. My mum always sends me, because I like to go and do some jobs before Christmas. I mean, this is going to be so outdated because it probably isn't going to come out until February. We'll talk about Christmas, but I'm not bothered because at least we're having a nice catch up. My mum always sends us out to do some bits of jobs and that before, like on like Christmas Eve, the day before. And like last few years, I've always been the one sent to the butchers. And like I feel like such a dick when I go in the butchers. And like, it's one of the few places that I don't feel uncomfortable because of the meat, because I don't really give a shit about that. But like, it's because I proper don't know what I'm asking for. So like, it's like when you're at school and the teachers all play a joke and they send one of the bairns round for a long stand or a big wait or whatever. That's what I feel like.
Okay, I
feel
get
like
it.
my mum could have written anything down, and I'm like, ooh, I'll have 7 pounds of chocolate buckles. I don't know.
See, I like the idea that you're going in with anxiety that you ask for a turkey and then you got to clarify a dead one, please. Not one with the hairs on.
The hairs. Yeah. And then every year I go, because I feel so uncomfortable, I make like non-jokes, which is, they're like, hey, I don't know why they always send the vegetarian in there. It's horrible. And it just makes us remember like what it was like to be like an anxious teenager, because I just don't have that anymore. But then the butchers once a year, it's a good reminder.
It's the one in London we used to go to. You could see the back shop, and there's just something about a dude with an apron with blood on it. It just makes you think, I'm not leaving here alive.
I don't know what you're going to say. It's just something about a dude with an apron with blood in it that I find incredibly arousing. So, you know.
But I appreciate I would have been allowed to vocalise that if you can. You're very forward thinking. You are so 2022.
Thanks, man.
Tell you, just quickly before we start, I got to say what happened today. Now, it's annoying because I think a similar thing has been a bit of material for a comedian, but I swear. So I walk out my street, and we ran out of tea bags last night, so I woke up and I backflipped out of bed, and I know the first thing I'm getting is fucking tea bags, because I know what my day is going to be like if there's no tea bags in the household. Yeah. So I walk down the shop. I'm being me, so I'm looking at my feet, hoping not to talk to anyone. I turn the corner in the estate, and they're doing something, some kind of building, and there's one guy there, a builder, and he's in what I could only describe as like a power stance. So like his legs are, if you imagine you're doing yoga, he's got his hands on his hips, and he's got his legs more than shoulder width apart. And he goes, Naga, where you going? And I stop, I freeze, right? I'm like 5 feet away from him. I know there's no barrier in between us, so I'm like, I haven't stepped on a place that I haven't. And he said something else incomprehensible. He's like, Gannon. And I look up, and I look around, I'm like, do I know him from school? Is this a person that I've bumped into? And then I went, I'm going to the shops, and as I said shops, a hand came out from the ground, handing him a hammer.
Oh no. Oh, I can proper imagine in that turmoil.
When I see that hand coming up like the end of Halloween, coming from a fucking gravestone, I'm just like, oh, for fuck.
Oh no. Did he respond to you?
Nah, he didn't.
Is that like...
He just kind of...
Go on.
Just looked at us. As I looked at him, I put my head back down, walking down the road.
Oh, pet.
I'll be walking the long way back home.
I was thinking that. I was like, is there a way that you were able to like avoid on the way back? Should we talk about the documentary then?
Yes, don't worry. Not all of that will survive the cut. Or maybe it will. Who knows? We're back. This is the post-COVID discussing documentaries podcast. We're managing to do it. God bless Tinks for jumping on board and co-hosting, and her enthusiasm, because we were meant to record yesterday and I had to ring up sick to my own podcast. All right, so this week we're taking a look at the Netflix documentary Tell Me Who I Am. What caught your eye about this one, Tinks?
Well, the advert or trailer, really, it does draw you in, doesn't it? Because it's just a bit unheard of. It's a twin saying that his entire memory's constructed from what his twin has told him, because he's lost his memory, but then there's something that he's like either missed out or he's lied about or something. So you don't know what it is, but it's serious intrigue. That is just what a texture actually.
Intrigue, yeah. All right, well, since I knew what it was, I was trying to think, what could it have been for it to be positive? Do you know what I mean? It's just like, look, the truth is, Marcus, you're actually in the NBA.
Oh, well, you've managed it then, because afterwards, Stuart, like, because we watched it and we were both like just completely silent. Like, I'd stopped writing any notes. I was like, fucking like, it's just mad. And Stuart, just the first thing that broke the silence was, well, don't try to get a fucking laugh out of this. So.
Well, throughout the course of this next 30 minutes, I have I would say 9 attempts. See how many. But all right, so for those who haven't seen it, and this is what I would actually recommend watching, but be prepared to be bummed out. That wasn't one of the attempts.
You horrible bastard.
I'm leaving the laughing, not the cursing. Is it Alex and Marcus?
Yes.
I got the
Alex
names
is
right
the
on
one
that
who's
one.
lost his memory, and Marcus is
Yeah. He lost his memory in a motorcycle accident. He wakes up. He sees his twin brother. He knows that's his brother. He recognises nobody
He literally
else.
says, hello, Marcus. But he doesn't know his own name. But he knows his brother's name.
Yeah, and the mother is obviously distressed. She doesn't recognise him. They go into, detail on that backstory, but it's gone. The memory of his first 18 years, is it? He was 18 when it happened?
Wait, sorry, I'm just going to stop you there because I didn't like the mum immediately because she took it so personally that he'd forgotten her. And I was just like, Howie, man, poor Ben's lost the last, like, all of his memories, and you're, like, booting off because he doesn't remember you. Like, maybe he's trying to help him, you fucking bitch.
It was weird, wasn't it? I can't draw a parable. Like, I was the best at the party, though, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Kind of just pestering, like, you remember me, though, don't you? You remember me. You can't forget
what about
me.
Me. Lovely me.
There's a key word. Yeah, when someone's got a traumatic brain injury.
Mm-hmm. And I must say as well that it starts, and certainly in the trailer, I felt like he'd kept, the brother Marcus had kept something from him for like his own gain, because it was almost like what it was putting across was a bit like evil twin, good twin, evil twin, good twin. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get completely.
So like that was like thinking of it from that perspective as well. So anyway.
And so Marcus, sure, they go back. They're loaded. The family's like, the mother went to like Bridgerton debutante balls and that kind of stuff, which that creates a little bit of a distance when you're watching it. You're like, all right, what happened to Richie Rich?
I know we're both so bad for that. Like, just like your sympathy, our sympathy just kind of goes very quickly if people have got money. Not good, is it really?
Yeah.
It's not a thing that I'm proud of, that I'm like that.
It's TV that's done that, though.
I think it's just all the posh twats I've met that have done it, actually.
Majority of my friends are heading middle class. I think I'm the novelty for them. But then, I wouldn't say I'm particularly working class. I need a job for that. So...
I know. Well, I was. We might talk about this before, actually. Like a little while ago, I was thinking, like, I guess I'm middle class now. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, bloody hell, that's mad. But then Stuart was saying, well, I don't think we are. But I think, like, because it's like, is it what? I mean, I'm sure that there is I don't know what is middle class.
I think there's a number of times you can, in the Northeast, there's a number of times you can use the phrase daft cunt in a day. And then once you go over that bridge, you're either middle class or you're trying to be something you're not.
Is it like when you've got to tick your age, so it's like the 18 to 25 box, it's like the 0 to 5 times you say daft cunt in a day, 6 to 10.
It's the doctors checking you're alcoholic. Have you ever went out and said daft cunt more times than you intended to say daft cunt? But you're also like a returning to the Northeast. So you went away. So I don't know about you because you kind of got a stronger sense of individuality than me. But when I went away, I kind of like gobbled up all Northeast stereotypes as some kind of character of mine. I would drink more. I got more Geordie the further south I went, and I was known as the Toon fan. Where in Chesley Street, no one would ask my opinion of fucking football.
Yeah,
you know what I
that's
mean?
True. Like my accent definitely got stronger because I mean, if you remember when we were younger, I used to try and soften my accent quite a lot. But then when I moved away, I was like so determined not to lose it that it definitely got stronger.
Yeah. And it's something I had to really backtrack. It was, I think it's when I did my first gig back in the Northeast. I remembered I had to change the line, "I'm from Newcastle."
Oh, yeah.
And be like, oh, Jesus, I'm living a lie. I did a gig in Edinburgh at the Stand, and when the glass collectors came and went, "Oh, I'm from Newcastle, whereabouts are you?" I went, "Oh, Chesley Street." She went, "Well, that's not Newcastle."
You're daft cunt.
No, she said the weirdest, like not the weirdest thing, but the weirdest qualifier. She went, "I worked at the Metro Centre." And walked up.
Aye, and that's good, said you daft cunt.
If I punched her, that would mean we're married now. But yeah, so it's back to the working class thing. That is devout within. There isn't a stereotype of middle class Geordie, which there very much is middle and upper middle class people in the Northeast. But that word Geordie is attached to like the miners and attached to Newcastle fans not wearing shirts in the away end.
Yeah, I feel like we're middle class because we can like. I mean, we've never. Me and Stuart have never had a holiday like longer than a week. I don't think we could afford like a 2-week holiday a year or anything like that. But we're definitely able to like have a weekend away without worrying too much every now and again. Do you know what I mean? And like, I think that makes you like, and then we've never, since we've been together, I've never ever, this first time in my life, never had to worry about making sure there was enough food and paying all the bills. We just haven't had to worry about that. And I think that's a big...
Because you're killing it.
Yeah, definitely. It is a big deal, like, when that... So, like, I think it's good sometimes to, like, not have stuff, because then when you have it, you really appreciate it.
Oh,
you know
God,
what I mean?
yeah.
It's like we didn't have a freezer for ages, right? It was a good... Well, it wasn't that long, because, I mean, it was cold. We moved in December, so there was no fucking point. Anyway, just hide outside. And then it got to summer, and it was like we'd probably been in like 7 or 8 months. And then me mum, definitely middle class now, me mum, living on an estate, keeping up with the Joneses, she's got 2 freezers. She's got one in the bloody garage. So she said, "Oh, I'll let you borrow mine. It's not being plugged in while I've been going without a freezer all this time." No, I'm only joking. Well, no, I'm not fucking living. And then so we got that, and oh my God, that was amazing. When we got that freezer, and I could like have it, the main thing was just for ice, for gin. Do you know what I mean? It was like, oh, lovely cold gin. That's another thing as well, being able to afford spirits.
Okay, yeah. I've never got into gin.
Actual spirits that you want to drink, not just like vodka. You know what I mean? To go in, fake Red Bull.
I did a lock-in in Eastbourne with a promoter, and we went to Tesco's, 24-hour Tesco's, I think, to get drink. Oh, trying to remember. I'm merging stories. Anyway, we went to Tesco's to get drink. It would have been too late. It was the lock-in night. And due to my finances, I got Tesco whiskey for £5 and almost went blind. Would you equate not having a freezer for that amount of time to being similar to not having any childhood memories, like what was experienced by Alex?
I would definitely rather not have a freezer for the rest of my life. But then again, if I'd had his childhood, I think I would take the freezer and have no memory.
It is an interesting one, isn't it? Because if you hadn't seen the trailer, you wouldn't quite know where it's going. And it's almost heartwarming how the twin brother is now teaching this 18-year-old how to be a human. So, like, how to make toast, how to do this. When they said riding a bike, they used one of those old-timey bikes like in fucking Heartbeat, and that annoyed me for some reason. Like, they're just... I know he's got head trauma, but they are just like living a fucking Enid Blyton lifestyle. Like 18-year-olds with scarves on, riding around the big oak tree in their garden. Going, you can do it, Rupert. You can do it.
Yes. And it was...
He's got no memory of his education, so of course he got into Oxford.
Yeah, that it was really heartwarming, because the twin Alex, who's lost his memory, as he's going back, he was like, I didn't know all these things, but he's like, he's so happy because he's talking about how his brother just filled in all the blanks for him, like, really quickly.
Yeah.
And like you can like see a sense of like joy and like love in his face as he's saying that.
Absolutely.
Oh, it was. I don't know. Oh, I'm getting a bit wet-eyed now, because it was really emotional. Just watching them explain that on its own was lovely. Like the bond that they've obviously had or have.
And one thing he did say is all TV was new, which I thought, you know what, if you could just delete 10 seasons of The American Office and then watch it again from scratch, that would a little bit of a gift there if you're looking for small mercies. But the first red flag, like the major red flag for me, is how they refer to their mother as Mummy at their
Stuart
age.
was livid about that as well. He's like, Mummy!
Oh, that is, yeah, I've heard that on occasion, and it's, you can see someone descend in age almost, which you can forgive the amnesia guy, but Marcus also did so on occasion as well. I told a mate that I do the Twitch stream with, that we're doing this one, and he told me that the same thing happened. They weren't twins, but brothers, to a friend of his. And when his brother woke up with he'd got into a bar fight, hit with an actual like plank of wood or a bar, lost all of his memories, and his brother told him he was gay and just broke up with his boyfriend and was really upset.
Are you joking?
No.
What an asshole! Oh my god! I feel like that's the kind of shit you and your brother would do to each other, just like fucking wind each other up about it.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going to with it. Yeah, because I'm trying to. If you're trying to put yourself in one of these situations, I could not trust our Dan to not fuck me over.
That's really interesting, because I wrote down later on about mine and my sister's relationship. Very, very different things I wrote down.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see you two getting on. So he's asking things like, so he's piecing together his childhood now. After he's learned how to be, he wants to know about his childhood. And he says, have we ever been on a holiday? Is the thing. And he says, yep, we went to a beach holiday in the south of France. You like chocolate flakes in your ice cream. They show him a photo of a beach. That's enough for him. And those memories get latched onto and then built around, which there is a fragility of memory of how you perceive things. Do you know what I mean? And I thought that's an interesting look into the human psyche of how you can grasp things as fact.
Yeah, but I mean, we do it anyway, don't we? Like, even if you haven't lost your memory fully, like this poor fella, but you do still construct memories or like remember things a certain way because of a photograph. But that doesn't necessarily mean it is exactly how it was or what it was. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I agree.
You construct around that and what's happening. And those are usually the things that you feel like you can remember better because there's a physical evidence of it. But you don't necessarily. There's just... Have you ever read The Beach?
Is that the DiCaprio movie?
Yeah.
No.
Have you seen The Beach?
No.
All right, fuck you then. Never mind. Move on.
No. One of our listeners might have.
No,
so,
it's just really interesting. I can't remember what he says now, but there's a really interesting.
Isn't memory a fascinating thing?
No, there's a really interesting.
I was in it.
Leo Dio, I am Leo Dio. No, so there's a bit about, because he's travelling around, and it's a bit about how he doesn't ever take any photos because what you take the photos of then changes your memory. So like you need to take it in mentally rather than have this like evidence to show for it. And it really touched us, but I can't fucking remember what he said.
do you know, I lived with the kind of guy who would go travelling and say that kind of bullshit.
I suppose. I read it when I was quite young,
I can
so
imagine
I haven't met those kind of people yet.
Yeah, it's another thing I had to deal with when I got to uni, of people having nice times, and there'll be people like going down to like the coast and, you know, having like a beach fire and singing songs, and no one's being mean or saying the word daft cunt.
Well, I found it really weird, and still struggle with it now. Not struggle, but like have to like retrain myself. Like when people do anything but they're not drinking. Like anything, it's like, especially, we're going to go and do this, it's going to be lovely. It's like, right, well, when do you stop doing that and have a drink? Or like, at what point do you go to the... It's like, that's a nice thing to do, and then you talk about it when you're having a drink after, or like you have a drink while you're doing it so that it's fun or whatever. It's terrible.
No, it is a massive unpicking of your like habits.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find a bit about I really want to read you the bit about taking photos. I bet it's shit. No, it won't be shit. It's good. Oh, I've put too much information in. Oh, no, now it's saying leave nothing but footprints and all this crap. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Oh, no, wait a minute.
Oh, we need to live stream Tinks Googling things, I think, would get more views.
Oh, nah, bollocks to it. That's too long. We'll find it. You can put it on the something. I'll find the quote, then you can put it on something in case anyone gives a shit.
Oh, I can.
Oh,
this is
God,
how this business relationship is going, is it?
Don't start, you. Anyway, sorry. What were you saying?
So, to recap, you've been on holidays, France, you like chocolate flakes in your ice cream. I did think modern day you'd have Facebook to go through. So even the time in which this happened, there'd be a lot less to go off compared to modern day. Well, here's you live streaming, reviewing a packet of crisps. This is the type of person you are.
I think it was
you're at a crossroads.
I think
now.
It was 1982 when he lost his memory. So he was 18 in 1982. So yeah.
And then it starts to get weird away from the amnesia. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you find out they don't live in the massive house; they live in this shed.
And yeah, before that, they've talked a bit about the kind of characters their parents are, haven't they? So they're saying like that the mom's like dead charismatic. Before you find out that they live in the shed, like that she's really charismatic and can like she walks into a room and everyone looks at her like she's like life and soul kind of thing. And I was thinking, I like to think people think of me that way, and then I'm thinking the very opposite by the end.
Well, one of the things, I don't know when they drop it in, but it was a weird thing, and I couldn't stop thinking about it the whole way through. Because you've got to remember, this is the second watch for me, so I'm trying to avoid the nasty and pick up on the absurd. But they mentioned she had massive hands.
Oh, no.
And then when you see the photographs of her, I can't help but see these huge hands carrying chihuahuas.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Oh, no, but the big hands thing oh, no. That upset me. As
someone whose hand size has been criticised at length throughout his life, can I just say, you need to learn to have a sense of humour about it.
No, but it was. I'm not sad for the people who said she's got big hands. It's more what she bloody does with them that's the problem and where they've been. That's what I thought about when he said about the size of her hands. Sorry, you're trying to find.
Then why is that in his mind? Why is hand size? Like, I don't know. I couldn't tell you my mother's ears, but if I went, she's got massive ears, my mother. Is there a reason? What she heard him doing? What's going on?
So yeah, they say that very charismatic mum, big hands, loves chihuahuas, and that their dad's dead scary.
The dad's terrifying. Apparently, you don't go into his side of the house.
They weren't allowed upstairs at all.
Yeah,
but especially not his place. Only if they were called and they had to refer to him as sir.
The sir, that's another one. That's an Americanism. I'm thinking American Beauty. The dad and that.
Oh yeah.
Then it's all about him trying to integrate himself with friends. He doesn't remember them. He's got a girlfriend, which he just does. He pretends to remember, and still, I don't know if that's cool. They did that.
Well, I'm just sorry. There's a little bit that I wrote down about, and like. Because after they've said about the mum and dad and that he lived in the shed and all that he says about taking everything as the norm, and that it really captured like my brain, because when I think for lots of people, you do as you're growing up think your family's like the average or the norm or whatever. Because that's what you're being told by the people who are closest to you. They're around you all the time. Who you are and what you're built up on is based on the people around you, because you're not allowed out as much or whatever as you're growing up. So you just surround your circle smaller. So you think that whatever that is the norm. And then as you reach like your teen years, then you start to realise, oh, well, actually, that's a bit weird about our family and that's a bit odd and they do that differently. But it's like he's gone the other way around, and that must be so confusing because like 18 you're starting to realise the like fucked up things with your family or like what's going on around you or what you want to change, that you want to be different to that. If you ever have a family, that's what you'd be different, how you'd be different, whereas he just thinks that that's what all families are like because he's got nothing to base it on.
Imagine that first time like Marcus and Alex go around the friend's house as a teenager and just crack up laughing going, I'm sorry, but why has your mother got tiny hands? Like that's ridiculous.
Is your mum's hands tiny, or is that a massive dog? And also, he said, Alex, who's lost his memory, it said, and you know, people have always often said to us, people say all the time, it's not that bad losing your memory. I thought, who the fuck is he surrounding himself with? Because this is awful what's happened to him. And he says it as if like, yeah, people say it all the time. I'm like, twats? Do you know what I mean? Christ. Sorry.
You can imagine instead of the best of spirits, like you could have lost something horrific like your sense of smell or fatigue. But it's
what, you've lost your energy levels, have you? Jesus Christ.
I didn't have much to give. All right, I didn't have much to give. But it's the what you said about you feeling your family's the norm. I think that is a bigger issue the higher the class scale you go up, because they are so isolated in that big house. Whereas say if you're from lower income family, you kind of are more on top of each other. If you like the lads that came from like the estates knew each other better than what the middle class kids did for fucking play dates. And you can see and experience a lot more different sectors of culture and a lot more uncles coming around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they ended up having plenty of uncles, didn't they?
I was trying to do the Sudoku for that line myself. Yes, I was going to.
Sorry. Did I take your joke away?
You didn't. I just didn't give it the laugh it deserved because I'm going, how do I make that okay to say it and still be funny?
So yeah, like after he gets used to the house, I think they said it's a few months before Marcus takes him out to meet their friends, and as you say, they're like he had a girlfriend, and also everybody knew he'd had an injury. But what they would do before went to a party, Alex would be like, remind us who everybody is and what they look like and give us a little backstory. And he was saying like none of the friends noticed, including his girlfriend, that he'd lost.
I know.
Oh my God. The drugs must have been canny good.
Nah, I've just hung out with middle class. I can imagine the people who don't have to worry about money are just like that. Are you feeling better, boy? Very good. Anyway.
But then he's...
That's not so bad. You've got a new scarf.
Losing your memory's not that bad. You can buy all the scarves you want. But then he starts taking photos of like everything. Absolutely everything.
There are some horrific quotes coming up in this.
Yeah.
Like, I mean horrific. But one of the worst quotes I've heard in a documentary is, you take photographs of things like weddings and holidays, but you never take a photograph of a funeral. I was like...
What was your reaction?
All right, Alex. Like,
My immediate reaction was the clothes would be cooler. That's my genuine immediate reaction, because it's like, people always go OTT and wear things they don't feel particularly comfortable with at a wedding, or often do anyway, because they're trying to be like fancy and summery. But everybody's got a lovely black outfit that they love.
Yeah, I get that.
Well, most women do. Fellas just end up wearing the same suit for everything, don't they? Or not, I'm doing a sweeping generalisation there. lots of the funeral I've been to, I've had lots of people in ill-fitting suits, but I didn't feel like it was a time to bring it up with them. But maybe if I start taking photos of funerals, once the sadness is
then
subsided,
they would learn themselves.
I'll be able to just point it out, be like, now that the grief isn't quite surprised, like, you need to sort this suit situation out.
Dave, get that blazer taken out a bit, mate, before Mary's cough escalates.
I thought that was a really interesting quote, though. Did you think it was a shit thing to say? I thought it was really interesting because it's like, because when he's constructed his entire life from photographs, and he's just saying like that you can't fully understand yourself as a person because you haven't got those points of relevance and reference to look back on. I thought that was great. Yeah. I'm going to write it in joined up writing and put it on me wall instead of live, laugh, love me.
Impress young student chicks to come round. Why have you got take photographs of a funeral on your wall? Well,
in fairness, that is exactly you came into my room when I was a young'un, and that is the kind of thing I would have written on my wall.
For the benefit of the podcast, we were the same age. Yeah, halfway through saying that writing on your wall, I did trigger a memory of, you did do that. I have it's the guy who went traveling in my halls I'm picturing when he had all those quotes, and it would be like it's just like The Office, and he'd be like, oh, what's that? It's from Coach Carter. And you're like, oh, that's not you.
No, I wrote all the things on my wall, but they definitely weren't like inspirational. It was just all really depressing. There was a lot of Nirvana lyrics.
It attacked all senses when you went in there. You questioned everything. Fairy lights and Tim Burton.
It wasn't just that.
Quotes.
It was Nirvana, man. Oh, I'm an individual just like everybody else, Rick.
Never said you weren't. Wasn't attacking you.
God. Oh, can you remember? I don't. Maybe I'd stopped doing this by the time I'd gone to college, right? But like in magazines and stuff, they used to be like in the back pages, like like people you would get like Kerrang magazine and stuff, and it would have like an advert for like slogan T-shirts that were like edgy, right? And like I couldn't ever afford to buy one, right? So I genuinely, right, always had my eyes open at school for like thick elastic bands, you know, like the ones that aren't thick, right. The ones that are like thick.
I know which one you mean.
So that I could and then I would like get them and I would write one of the edgy slogans on them and wear them as a bracelet.
Whilst you're being sent to the head teachers for having fucking some absurdly coloured hair, defies dress codes. And she's got cunt sticker written on her wrist for some reason. I don't know what that means.
You know what? I managed to get away with a lot in school. I really don't know how I managed to get away with it because I never wore a uniform. I wore something that very, very loosely resembled it. Like I would wear white on the top and black on the bottom. But that was as far as it went. Like I would just wear what I wanted. And I would always wear jewellery and I had like jewellery in my face. There was one, me and my friend bought exactly the same shirt, right? Exactly the same one. And it looked more slutty on me because I've got big tits and she was very slim and small. The teacher, she did something wrong in the lesson. The teacher called her a slut, right? Screamed at her, threw a book at her and sent her out the room. I was sat next to her, no bother.
Did a t-shirt say that, or is that just what the teacher just decided to call her?
Oh no, I just called her a slut. It was a white shirt, but instead of having buttons, it was like had a collar and then it was like a V-neck. So like it was quite low cut and it was they were very tight. And yeah, she got called a slut, told to leave the room.
Female teacher or male teacher?
Female, who liked females.
All right. All right, I'm Jesus. It sounds like there's a documentary to how you know that. Short hair, plaid shirt.
No, I know. Well, I'm not going to go into it because it's a sad story.
Okay, but I'm more picturing someone whose husband's just left her for a young lass. It's
Definitely
just
not that.
a bunch of venoms just came out. Ever tell you, I was walking last time I was in Brighton. I'm walking along the coast to the Apple store. I had to get some equipment for the tech that night. This guy's walking, and you know the rubber buckets the builders have. It's like a bucket with handles. He's carrying one of those. He's got no shirt on his back, and it's windy. And I've just had this whole moment of like the stress of being back in the northeast. But I'm walking along this like people are playing frisbee. They're rollerblading in unison in Brighton along the coast. And I'm going like, this is nice. This is calm. And then this fella walks up to us with a rubber bucket and goes, "Never trust a fucking woman, mate. They're all sluts and what?"
They're all sluts and what?
Walked off. That was God. It. He didn't break a slide. He didn't break a stride. He just was walking with his possessions in his workman's bucket, just telling people that all women are cunts.
Working class. I bet you're one of 5 to 10 that he mentioned it to that day.
Yeah, mate, what was your favourite episode of Halfway to Scene, Pet? When Moxie burns the hut down?
Oh, we better bring it back. It was thought this would be short, but I think it's going to be quite long. We've managed to vibe a lot.
Vibing. All right, so...
Well, we were saying he's taken loads of photos to get his memory back, isn't he? And then it moves on to the dad dying.
Yeah, the dad dies on the deathbed. He asks Marcus, "Would you forgive me?" And he says no. And that's the first time...
He asks both of them, doesn't he?
Alex.
And Alex says, yes, of course. And then, like, it pans on to Marcus and he's like, he's such a sweet boy. Of course he'd say that. And he doesn't know what he's saying yes to. And then, but yeah, and then Marcus says no. And then that's when, as you say, Alex starts to question things. He's thinking, why on earth, like, would you be so cruel as to not forgive a man who's seemingly this lovely fella? You know, like, yes, he's scary, but he's provided them with lots of things and memories and whatever else.
Yeah, he's put a thatched roof over our heads in the shed. I mean, what more can you ask?
Yeah.
Do you remember that time he called our names and didn't bang the table when he did it? And then shortly after, the mummy passes away of a brain tumour.
Yeah.
And that's when they're going through the house. They find all kinds of things like jars filled with £50 notes.
And the curtains as well, like sewn into the curtains.
Money sewn into the curtains. And that's when I
was like, are they pimping them out in the house for money and then hiding the money? That's what I thought then.
Yeah. There's a wardrobe in the bathroom just filled with sex toys. And
that's what I didn't understand, right? Was that... Wait, I mean, there's quite a lot I don't understand this, obviously. But at this point, I'm thinking, the mum knew she was dying for ages. Like, it seems like her decline was over quite a few years. You'd think you would have hid the sex toys out.
Where'd you put that many dildos?
You could just pop a couple in the bin every other week.
Like a weird advent calendar.
You know, because I mean, it may well be, because it looked like a big cupboard. And I guess if you put them all in, the bin might be too heavy for the bin men to take. Because then they put a sticker on it, then you've got to take some out, take things to the tip, and you don't want that to happen with that kind of stuff in there. So you just pop a few in every other week. I'll be all right when I'm on my way out. I'll know what to do.
You can just imagine on a Tuesday morning you see the bin being knocked over. Go, fucking hell! What's Ali's doing?
It's just like in a really loud voice. Who on earth has planted these disgusting things in my?
Just. There's only one hoose on the estate. They gotta know whose it is. It's like, just you can't just whack a couple of cock rings in the recycling and it not be noticed. It's windy and a massive fucking throbbing rubber cock just flies through the shed window. Like,
did you ever do that wet to each other? Like, can this go in the recycler? And it's like, well, make sure you rinse it out and I just pop it in. I'll be fine.
There is a funny thing when someone gets under the bed for toys. It always looks like a wrestler going under the ring for weapons.
And depending what kind of relationship you have, it may well end up feeling like that as well.
Why has he got a table? Right, if you're using that, I want a chair. Right. So, yeah, and then they find in the back of the house, there's a wardrobe, and inside that wardrobe...
Oh, wait a minute. Let us tell this bit first, right? Because before that happens, they go into the loft.
Oh, shit, this is so fucking dark. I don't know why. This is almost like the most damning thing of it for me, and I think it's because I'm a spoiled little shit. But you, please, explain what this is.
So, like Alex says, so we went into the loft, and that's where we found, our entire childhood. So, all of that, he's all of our, workbooks from being at school, all of our this, that, and the other, and he said, and all of our Christmas and birthday presents from our entire childhood. So they didn't have, they said we never got any presents. And they're literally all up there in the loft, wrapped up still, from all the aunties and uncles and that. Awful.
That's... I can't even... Yeah, I can't comprehend why. I mean, obviously, there's a lot in this to comprehend, but that is such a fucking...
Yeah. I know.
If a regular parent that didn't do the shit that these people had done to them...
Had done that.
You'd be like, oh, this guy's evil.
Yeah, exactly. And there is something... It's like... I don't know, it's weird, if you're getting so... This is what I never understand, right, with, crimes, right? There's a lot of fucking horrible crimes, and I'm not saying that that's what they're all right to do, right? I'm saying is...
I'm glad someone said that. We almost got cancelled.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is, if there's, a need or a want, right? So, I don't understand what you would get, if you were going to sell them presents on because you didn't have any money, or just because you wanted to buy something, or whatever, that's fucking horrible. But you can understand it. But just keeping them, do you know what I mean? Just keeping them there to, rot away. And,
Yeah, that's why they weren't allowed upstairs.
Yeah. I think that's one of many reasons.
What? I mean, this is really out of left field, right? And it could explain a lot that happens in this. What if they were just really naughty kids?
Santa just wouldn't come. He's like, I'll get as far as the loft. And if they sort themselves out... We'll bring them down. No. Maybe they were. No.
But nah, it's bleak. It is bleak.
But, Rick, did you get any nice Christmas presents?
I'll tell you what, right? This, I think I still owe an engraved thank you for. So I charged Tinks here with the task of creating an advent calendar for our lass. And it was amazing. I was meant to hide it until the 1st. It was all full of cosmetics and it wrapped up. The wrapping was the level of fucking TV show. Do you know what I mean? When you see a present on TV, it was fucking incredible. In a hamper. And I went and hid it. The first thing that happened is the beagle went and found it. So I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. So I had to give her it early. But I then very soon after contracted COVID and had to go into isolation. And as I was in isolation, the fact that she got a present a day from me, I think, saved my relationship.
I mean, now you've got us talking about advent calendars again. But, so last year, right? This year I didn't make as many. I made one for KJ, which you'd obviously, given us money for. And I made one for Stuart's mum, one for Stuart's sister. And me cousin's girlfriend wanted us to make a couple for her. I made a few, right? But the year before, I must have made about 20 advent calendars, right? And me honestly, my fingers were nearly bleeding. All my friends got one, and they were good. I don't do shit ones. I think I'm the...
Oh, I imagine you went all out.
Kind of
you bit off a little more than you could chew, but you went all out.
I'd genuinely rather not get someone something than just buy someone something for the sake of it. Because I wouldn't ever want somebody to just feel like they had to get us something and it was shit. I'd rather not get something and it go... Do you know what I mean? That's how I...
Have you ever been into, on Christmas Eve... a store along the lines of Lush, the cosmetic store on Christmas Eve?
No.
it is stowed off of blokes that look dejected like me, going, "Oh, we've got to get fucking her something," and fucking just queuing for hours to pick up what they hope isn't a fucking ornament.
But yeah, last year I made like all, because obviously it was like COVID, it was shit. Like I just wanted people to have like a little bit of something every day that would like make them smile and bright. So anyway, and I bought Stuart his beer advent calendar, obviously, and then and I did like a few 24-day ones and like even more 12-day ones, and then it got like the 1st December, and nobody had got me an advent calendar. Like not a chocolate one or anything. And I was like, I know you don't give to receive, but my feelings were honestly a little bit hurt, but like obviously I just pushed those feelings down. And then I was like, when like the first 2 weeks of December, I was like making more again for like 12-day Christmas ones, and like some of them were like to raffle off, and some of them were the ones people had bought, and other ones were, but like whatever they are, always make them really good. I don't put shit in them, like try and do them for the specific person, this, that, the other. And then I was thinking like, oh, maybe I'll get one for 12 days of Christmas. No one got me a 12-day one either. And then me and my mum went to B&M, and it was like 10 days before Christmas or something, and I had a cry.
Sorry, that shouldn't be funny.
I had to cry just about like loads of things, because
I do have some strong feelings whenever I go into a B&M store. I know I don't work hard, but I'm better than this.
Well, in fairness, I usually cry with glee because I can get 6 cans of Branston's beans for £2.50, and I love them. But yeah, I had a little cry because I was just stressed out about loads of different things. And my mum was like, come on, we'll get you a little calendar. So she got us like a booze one. And I was like, get this one because it's got money knocked off it, right? It was supposed to be like £15 and it was 12, I think, right? Because it was missing, because they were all little miniatures and it was missing 2 of the miniatures. And I was over the moon because it was like once. No, but listen, right? So I opened it up, and it was like Malibu. And like I would never buy a Malibu ever. I haven't had a Malibu since I was like sneaking it out of people's cupboards when I was 10. But I had one, Malibu and Coke, and it was lush. It was really nice to have a little drink. And I got to the end. Turns out there wasn't 2 missing. They just dropped down the back. So they were like free. And then, but then this year, there was a lot of...
work sent an email around, said, please don't drink before coming in.
But this year... I think quite a lot of people maybe felt guilty about the year before. I had 4 advent calendars this year.
Oh, see, that's what I was going to close on. I was going to be like, well, when people hear this, you're going to get 24 people making you a massive advent calendar. It's going to be like...
Yeah, that's what I expect. And that's what I expect. So I'm going to tell you what ones I got. So I got a cheese one. So I had tiny little truckles of cheese most days, and then sometimes a little thing of pickle, and sometimes a little cracker. And I got a 24-day tea one, so it's a new little...
Oh, I got one of those a few years back.
Hippie tea. Do you like hippie tea? Do you?
Okay, yeah, I'll ask.
Right, okay. Well, I'm still drinking some of them. I do like them, but I don't like anything licoricey or fennelly.
What's the second
Fennel.
one? What's fennel?
Tastes like licorice. It's like I thought
it was a cloth.
In real life, they look a bit like a really big garlic with hair,
right,
with like a hairstyle. But that's fine. Stuart drank them once, and then the best one. Oh, and I won one, which was like, which looks like a book, 12 Days of Christmas book, but it's actually got little things. I don't know what they are actually. So they're supposed to smell nice. I didn't open them because I just like it as it is. I'm going to bring it out each year. And then the best one was a 12-day Christmas one that all had loads of different gins in.
Nice.
So there wasn't an end to that story. I'm going to tell you this off air because it makes us look like an absolute dick. But that company that I couldn't cancel, right? Mm-hmm. They got back in touch loads more times, and said I hadn't cancelled. Honestly, And I ended up sending them such a shitty email that I was like aware that I was being a bit sarcastic, but it was massively typed out in rage and then sent. And then it's like, what, who am I? Like, it's ridiculous. I'll read that once it's finished.
The family member sits you down in some dark room and says, Tinks, you did subscribe to all those alcoholic calendars. Thank you, at least I know.
So that's hopefully the end of my little advent calendar story. Although actually... I very much appreciate the advent calendar. Also, due to algorithms, if Alex and Marcus listen to this podcast, not only are they reminded of their trauma, but also the fact that we got so many Christmas presents and they didn't. Oh, no.
Sorry, you wanted to talk about Christmas presents, I believe.
Okay, I will still. So, did you get any good Christmas presents?
I got an amazing Christmas present. It's becoming a bit of a problem. I got the new Xbox.
What's the new Xbox called?
I got the S series.
It'll still be classable, won't it? Like, that's the thing. Like,
it's fucking mint. It's mint.
Like,
it's absolutely mint.
Phone, and they're trying to charge us £600 for a phone. It's like, I'll have a £150 one because this was class once. You know what I mean?
That's the thing with phones. Like, I can't remember the last time a new phone impressed me. I feel like you made my old phone worse, not the new ones better.
Definitely.
It's like, oh, have you only got the iPhone 8? Well, you can't record HD while skydiving then. Like,
yeah.
I honestly think they've not done anything since Steve Jobs died.
I watched a review for this phone that I bought, and it was like, gaming's pretty good on it, but sometimes it can be a bit slow if you're doing full blah, 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 blah. It's like, I don't want a game on my phone, actually. Like, doing the voice, doing these video chats for you is about as technologically advanced as I need to get. You haven't asked, but I'll tell you about some of my Christmas presents.
Well, okay, let's put this in unison.
I got some really good ones. So when I was really cold earlier, you saw me nice dressing gown that my mum got us. That's one of my favourites. And just because I'm so cold, and then these booties as well. They're nice.
Okay. Okay.
Stuart.
Fluffy boots for the listeners of this audio medium.
And our Stuart got us, right? Wait for it. Fucking dance mat for the PlayStation 2.
Amazing. I got that for my niece.
For the PlayStation 2?
No, it's like it's its own thing where it just lights up where she's got to jump to and plays loud music. Every year I try and get them a very loud gift. For the young'un, I got him hover football, which like vibrates and he kicks around the house with a bumper on it.
They both sound like class presents, to be fair. So Stuart got us that, and he got us a lovely coat, like what you wear for horse riding. I haven't got a horse.
What's the dance mat like? I am intrigued to the dance mat.
I had this dance mat when I was a teen. Late teens, I had this very thing. So it's just like, so me and my sister would, like, we went on like a caravan holiday once, and they had the like dance, like arcade game things where you could. Yeah,
I know which one you say. Up, down, left, right, up,
so
and
and so we got dance mats as we were older, like, and it's exactly the same, and it's exactly the same one I had when I was a teenager. But we've been ill since Christmas, and I haven't actually set it up yet, which is mental because I thought it'd be straight on it. But I'm really excited about using that. And then he got us a lovely coat that's like, it's a horse riding one, but I haven't got a horse. But like the dog's kind of big, so like I feel like that's grand, and I love the coat. But then also, mainly I'm wanting to get round to these things that Laura got us, right? So you know what my dog looks like. Mm-hmm. Again, this is an audio medium, but look at this. It's like, so it's made out of felt. It's felting, and it's like my dog. And
yep, that does look like Crumble.
And then you can put a picture on for people to see.
Yep.
And then that's my niece dog, Mouse.
I've just seen a picture of both of those. Yep, that looks like them.
So I'm going to send you a picture of this. You've got to put it on somewhere so people can see.
Oh, we are going to have to get to the bleakness pretty quickly on. So, In the bedroom, they find a cupboard.
Oh, yeah.
Inside that cupboard is another cupboard with a key. They find the key. They go in.
Sorry. I know he said, well, I'll do a quick one.
I know it.
But Stuart was like, why would you bother finding the key? At this point, you'd just kick it in, wouldn't you? It's like, yeah.
I was thinking that, but I got to be honest, I don't think these two have good jobs at the minute, and there's a lot of money in that house. So they're like, no. In fairness, it may be filled with dildos, but that wardrobe's worth a lot. They find the key, and inside it is a picture, which is one of the most disturbing things you could ever fucking find. It is a picture of them as 10 years old, naked, with their heads cut off.
Aye. I was confused then because I was like, how did they put them back on? I was really confused because I was like, how did they cut their heads off? I don't understand, but I realised their heads were cut off on the photo. I was like literally like so confused. Like I'm going to sound like an idiot there.
Oh, right.
But I was literally like, their heads are cut off. It took us...
Marcus, were we decapitated as children?
Is that really why I lost my memory? Honestly, it was just my brain had totally... Yeah, anyway, never mind.
Yep. So they found that all of the stuff that Marcus has been telling them has been false. There have been lies. He's built up this narrative where he hasn't have to know this, and the only one person he trusted, so he's built his whole life around, was Marcus, is what he was telling them. So they go into the kitchen, and he says, were we abused as children? He says yes, but says nothing more on that matter. Refuses to talk about it.
Did our mother abuse us when we were children? So it's, yeah. And it's a yes.
Did our mother abuse us?
And like that's going back to the good twin thing that I thought at the beginning. I really thought that it was going to be that Marcus had some awful thing that he'd done to his brother or whatever. But it's like the premise seemed like maybe he was quite a cruel person, but the reality of it is that he's literally trying to protect him from the truth, isn't he? He's trying to make it so that he doesn't have to live the trauma that they lived. It was like almost like he was getting a second chance.
Yeah. And it's a very real fucking documentary, isn't it? And it gets more and more real from that. And Marcus described it how he's like, he buried it, put it in Pandora's box and ran away into a hole. And then he leaves the table and walks away. And I have to believe the director's like, could you go into a hole just for the cutscene? No? Okay, that's fine.
The thing that like really got me, like Marcus says, like I tried not to make stuff up. I just left stuff out. And like, I can, oh God, you just really feel for him. It's like, it's such a big responsibility. He's 18 years old. He's trying to process all this trauma that they've been through. And it is like, I can totally see why he did that. I don't think I would want to sit me. Like, I thought about my sister and like our relationship and how close we are. And if I could protect her from something like that, I think I would try and leave the things out. Yeah, when you start doing it, you're not thinking like, oh, well, this is going to become a massive...
Long term.
Yeah, you're thinking about protecting someone in the short term, and then it becomes a much bigger thing, doesn't it?
It's what he says, that the mother must have been so shocked that they're acting like everything's normal now.
Uh-huh. Because they've got...
Like they're
really
just turning up for birthdays and stuff,
and cuddling and whatever else.
But the whole issue is he won't go into the detail of actually what happened. Yeah. This is what this whole documentary is about, is to get him to sit down and do it. And that was always my question. Right? If you won't tell me face-to-face or via text or in a letter what happened to us, why get Netflix involved? That was something for me, but that was kind of answered a little bit. And this isn't to take anything away from what they're doing, is they've actually wrote a book together about this experience.
Yeah.
They'd written the book together, they own business together, they both got kids together. Not together, but 2 kids each, separate families.
That was what I was like totally shocked by, because I thought that they were like separate. Like all the way through this whole thing up until this point, I thought that they didn't talk to each other anymore.
Yeah, I thought this was a coming together.
But I was so thankful that they were still, because that's what broke my heart when they were talking about each other and the absolute love that they have for each other. And I was thinking that they didn't speak to each other anymore. Like that was making us cry all the way through before I even knew what was happening. Because again, I was thinking about like our Laura and like what that would like. And I mean, we're not twins, there's 7 years between us, but like I feel so connected to her. Like when it's like on about like having another half and things, like that's what I feel like. It's like I feel her pain, and then Oh, nah. Oh, it was horrible. I was just like putting myself there, and it's just awful.
And when it so it builds to them coming down and sitting at the table together. So they've all been separate talking heads. Builds to them sitting down, and when they're having the chat face to face, my thought was, I don't think me and my brother have ever sat and talked to each other for that amount of time. I played the computer, we've been places, we've been on nights out, but sitting at a table, yeah, I was almost, not jealous, obviously, but...
And when they're talking, like, both, like, to the camera individually, and then when they're talking together, they're incredibly well-rounded, aren't they?
Yeah, very well-rounded, and
self-aware.
it's, due to how well they enunciate, like, the RP accents are perfect, bang
What's
spot
that mean?
on. Received pronunciation. It's how newsreaders speak.
I've not heard that.
There's no regional accent to it, really. It's every word said what you classist, racistly call proper English. Like, they are tremendously. You'd almost think that this could be a Cambridge independent film movie made by students. Except for no one can act that well because it's so fucking raw. Like when Marcus is telling, you can see him literally cracking with the memories of saying what had happened. So he says to him, I can't tell you to your face what happened. I've said it to the camera. You can sit and watch it if you choose, but I don't understand. And they both had their say, and they both kind of have pretty valid points. Like what you said, if you could protect a loved one from that, why wouldn't you?
And I can see all the reasons. I can see massively both sides of the coin. But I would think that if I was 18, I would have made the exact same decision.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would as a 32-year-old. I don't think I would but I would as an 18-year-old, definitely. I found it quite interesting that Alex trusted that he was going to tell him the truth, mate.
Yeah, I'd give it that. I was half hoping that when he spoke to the camera, it was going to be a joke and the mother was going to be there and be like, "Wah, I got you."
That was weird. I genuinely thought something like that was going to happen.